Hi, my name's Rachel Schneider, and the coolest shit I ever did was leave my day job to become a full-time artist.
Welcome back, my creative nerds. This is episode 56. You're here, you're with me. I'm your host, Sean McDale. This is the Do More Cool Shit podcast. You're the creative nerds that are listening and or watching. This time you could be watching because this is on YouTube. You know, every time we get a guest, we're going to put it on YouTube. And you can go over to the Do More Cool Shit channel over there. Go visit youtube.com / I think there's a little ad symbol, Do More Cool Shit. You'll find it. Go to the website, do the thing, click all the buttons, do the thing. Seriously, this episode, I could not be more excited to talk to you about my conversation that I had with Rachel Schneider, a.k.a. Babe_Ross with an extra S for sweaty. I would have said a different word, but that's the word she chose. But before we get into that, I obviously want to always look back, and then I want to look forward a little bit. Episode 55. If you haven't gone back and listened to that, if you're an artist, if you're a creative, if you're someone out there that's selling shit, you need to go listen to that episode. I have had so much great feedback from you guys already, for those who have listened to it. I could probably do 15 more episodes on why and how you suck at pricing your work and how you can get better. Of course, there is a whole lot to be said about that, and I'm excited that episode exists. And please go give that a listen. That was the last episode. You know why? I'm going to give you one quick tip here. Do you know why you know how to price your work? Do you know how when you trust your gut, which is a tip? It's a little tip. That's the thing I said in there, right? Do you know why you know how to price your work? Why I never believe when people are like, it's so hard to price my work. I don't know. No, bullshit. You know how to price your work. You know why? Because you are a consumer. You live in the world. You buy shit. You know how much shit costs. You know what you're worth. Anyway, that's if you need more of that, which you do, I guarantee you do. Go back and give that a listen. That was episode 55. Looking ahead, September 2nd, 2 Mondays away from now, episode 57. I am going to be talking, I'm going to jump into a little bit about expectations, our experiences and how that relates to what we're putting out of the world. And then how to live in the present. I really like how to be in this present moment. And I think all of that kind of culminates into a little bit of a little bit less stress and worry. And I am hoping that we're going to be able to have a really nice chat on September 2nd about some of that stuff. And that maybe you could just ease yourself a little bit. But enough about that. Enough about September 2nd. Let's get right into what I'm talking about today. I can't possibly give an intro. This episode is so good. It's packed with knowledge. Rachel is a wealth of knowledge. I couldn't be happier. We have so many laughs, so many good things happen in this episode. We talk about everything. We talk about everything, damn it. But most of all, we talk about kind of process over product and how Rachel herself is working through that, and how I hope as you listen to her journey and her ability to do that, I hope that you're inspired to start thinking about how you think about process versus the end outcome. We cover things like it just takes one person to believe in you, to change your entire trajectory. We talk a little bit about expectations and reality, right? Rachel has a really, really good example a couple of times actually, but one good one about expecting to get into a certain show that she didn't get into and how that affected her life, right? We talk about making that first sale and how huge that can be. We talk about conceding to the moment, conceding to the energy, the power, the time that's happening here. We talked about finding community. Rachel has an incredible community on Twitch. You're going to find her over there on twitch.tv/ babe_Ross with 3 S's at the end. It's so worth it. And we also, I want to say this quote, and I'm reading this quote right here in front of me because I think it's really important. What if I could apply the energy to my own dream And that was something that Rachel said in relation to leaving her last job before she made the leap to become a full-time artist. And I think that is so important. What if I could put all the energy that I was putting into this other thing into just me and what I'm doing? Wow. If you don't take anything else with that, I hope you write that down on a sheet of paper. I hope you put that in your pocket. I hope you take it out every goddamn day. I hope you put it under your pillow nicely. You sleep on it nicely. It's so worth it. That's right. What if you put all the energy that you're putting into somebody else, into yourself, into another company, into your business? Wow. Crazy. And then we end up talking about a really great exercise. There's a really great exercise at the end of that episode, the end of this episode, that I really want you to get to. I hope you get to it. If you get to it, let me know, because I want to know. There's an exercise right. It's right near the end, and that's how I know. That's how I know if you're listening. That's how I know if you creatives are listening. If you didn't tell me about the exercise, or you don't show me how you did the exercise, then I'm going to know you didn't listen all the way through, and that you're a bad creative, and you're not believing in yourself because you didn't give yourself enough time to just live in the moment, right? I know this is a long episode. I'm going to shut up now. You're going to be flabbergasted when you listen to Rachel, and you have to absolutely go check out her channel. Of course, go to the website, read the descriptions, all that stuff. But we just got to get into the episode. We just have to get into the episode. Okay, bye. I'll see you on the other side. Well, thanks, Rachel, for hanging out with us on the Do More Cool Shit podcast. Here we are.
Thank you for having me, Sean. How are you doing?
Yeah, we did it. We're doing it. This is amazing. I'm good. Are you good?
I'm so good.
All right, so I've seen. Well, I first found Rachel on Twitch under the name Babe_Ross with an extra S, right?
Yeah, the extra S is for sweaty.
Okay, yeah, I thought it was for sweaty. I wasn't sure. And I was blown away, one, by the art, and then two, by the humor, the community, the great, awesome, just the vibe. You know, it was just a vibe. It was my people. I enjoy it, and it's the people that listen here. You know, there's a lot of nerds on the internet, and we found more of them in your community, and it was great.
Thank you. We're recruiting nerds at all times, so if you want to join at any time, feel free.
That's right.
Come over.
And then while we got into this, I kind of did a little deep dive, and I was trying to learn a little bit more about, you know, the behind the scenes of who Rachel is, and I discovered that you didn't really fuck around. At the age of 4, I heard that you were like, I want to be an artist. You told your mother, you're like, I want to be an artist, and that's just what you're doing. That's what you did, right?
Oh my goodness, yes. How did you know that? I feel like
this is what these are things we know. Yeah, I was talking to your mother yesterday. She told me.
That's where she was. I tried to call her, and she's like, "I'm busy." She like
That's
totally
right.
big timed me.
Yeah. I needed to get deep dive inside. So, but yeah, that was kind of interesting because what kid doesn't say, you know, I want to be an artist or, you know,
Right.
have an idea. But how many people actually follow through, and how long has that journey been? And I followed through, but I'll let you fill in some gaps. But I know there was, like, you know, many years of art, then there was a small break of not doing art.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to dive into kind of some of that stuff and figure that out a little bit. Like, when did you really know you wanted to be an artist? I know many 4-year-olds are going to say they want to be an artist, but when did you really know you wanted to be an artist?
I think the really knowing, I mean, because I went in and out of it a lot. I wanted to be a teacher for a long time. And I think I really wanted to know during my very first high school art class. It was my first official art class that I took. I mean, we did like arts and crafts, you know, in middle school and stuff like that. But I had this incredible art teacher. Shout out to Miss Kirk. She was absolutely incredible. I would say that she kickstarted my absolute like love of art and art education and learning, and those aha moments of figuring something out. Because I always wanted to be able to express myself and describe something, but I never, like, once you get those tools of how to translate it from your head to the paper, and like that's when I feel most invigorated and like, oh, I can actually do this. I think. And
yeah.
And there was just like so many lessons she taught, and I was pretty good at it. I'm very humble, but I was like, it came a little easier to me, and I was like, I think I could do this. At the end of high school, it was really all I had. I mean,
Well, that's sometimes the thing, right? Where especially you're like,
it's
this
like,
is what I
what else
got.
can I
So
do?
what am
This
I
is
gonna
what
do?
I got.
What
Yeah.
am I gonna do? Yeah, that's really
It
funny.
was
That's
like that
great.
or writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I really
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
to
You're like
write
I
too.
know words. I've seen you on
I can
stream. You
words and I
definitely
can
know.
pictures.
You definitely know some words. I've seen it on stream.
Yeah, I can words and I can pictures. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, which one do I want to do? And I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to go to art school after high school, and it was the Academy of Art in San Francisco, which sounds super fancy, but you don't really need to submit a portfolio. Everyone's like, wow, you got in there? I was like, yeah, I had some money and email address in two hands. That's how I got
Right.
in. You know, it's like they kind of accepted anybody. It wasn't really like, it was like anyone who wanted to go. It's a for-profit school, so as
Mm.
long as you're paying them, you know. I'm in debt
Wait, is it
also from that,
also?
by the
Did I see
way.
that it was called a university? Is it a university?
Academy of Art University, yeah.
Right. And that's where I was like, okay, it sounds so prestigious.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
prestigious. Yeah, in
I was
San
like, also,
Francisco.
there's so many things. It's like, it's an academy. Wait, what is it? Is it an academy or is it a university or is it can it be
I know.
both?
They threw all the words in there just to make you be like,
And they're
whoa.
like, this is an extra $1,000. This is an extra
Right?
$2,000. Yeah, we call it a university.
Exactly.
Oh man, we can jack it way up.
Oh, right? Oh, exactly.
That's so funny. Well, that's good. I'm glad you do
Yeah.
that. But I want to actually stick with Miss Kurt for a while. So what about
Sure.
Miss Kurt that like what about her that made you like believe in art or believe in yourself, I guess, really?
Miss Kirk, she was so supportive, and she was so like geeked out on people just being
Mm,
into art. You know, it
yeah.
didn't matter how good you were. It didn't matter like if you were really grasping the lesson. If you were applying yourself, she was like your biggest cheerleader.
Mm,
And she did a bunch of lessons. Like negative space was one of my first big aha moments in art, where she said, "Look at the trees, and don't look at the branches, but look at the shapes of the sky in between the branches. That's called negative space." And I just went like, that's another element that you can like
that's awesome.
that you
Because
can
yeah, how old are
deal
you at this
with.
time?
I'm like 16, maybe
Oh,
17,
16.
you
Okay.
know?
Yeah.
So I just didn't know that existed. And I was like, well,
Mm.
what else is there that I don't know? You know, she had us on the overhead, you know, like, you remember overhead projectors?
Yeah, the actual old, we're both
The
very,
old
so if you're
fashioned.
listening and you're young, we used to have these things that had light bulbs and like a reflecting mirror,
And a
right?
mirror, yeah.
Yeah, a mirror and a light bulb basically is what we lit. So
It
how
was
we
a
learned in the back in the
candlestick.
day.
It was, yeah, there was a candlestick and you had,
Yeah, that's it.
right?
But then she had these reflections up on
She
the
had,
screen.
yeah, but she flipped the image upside down. So we had to
Ooh,
draw it. We didn't know what it was. And she
shit.
said, just sketch this and see it as just shapes and line. And so you can't,
Mm.
like, your mind can't see what it is. And so as soon as we were done sketching, we turned it upside down and it was like this man sitting in a chair. And we were all like amazed at how well we drew it. And it was because you're not seeing ahead and thinking, I'm drawing ahead. This is what I think ahead looks like. You're doing all observation. So you're just looking at the shapes as shapes and you're trying to match them, as opposed to using the knowledge you already have and applying it instead of using the reference in front of you.
Mm.
And that blew me away too. It was all of those like really neat, interesting lessons. And I would say the other thing is that she talks about complementary colors: purple and yellow, blue and orange, green and red. And we had to paint a cupcake. And so I used, this is really random, but it was like a Wayne Thiebaud. He's a Bay Area artist. And so
Okay.
she said, paint a cupcake in a style of Wayne Thiebaud, use complementary colors, blah, blah, blah. So I painted my cupcake and she came over to me and she said, I want to buy your cupcake painting. And I was like, I guess I don't know.
You're like $500, lady.
Yeah.
She was like,
I need to save
little
up
did
for
she know that you were a crude
tuition.
businesswoman right
I
off the start. You're like, aha, this art thing's finally paying off.
Right?
Yeah.
I think I sold it for like $60 or something,
of
which
course
is
you
pretty
did.
good. I mean,
Yeah, of course you did. Because you're 16
Right?
and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You want to buy this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
And she told me, she's like, I hope that you know that you are now professional artist because you've sold
Ooh.
your art.
Yeah, that's
And
something.
so she goes,
That's
never unvalue your work, because kids would come up to me. I was the kid where they'd be like, I have to draw this vocab word. Can you do it for me? And I'd be like, yeah, sure. And, I'd draw tattoo designs for people. I wanted to be a tattoo artist actually before I became a painter.
Okay.
And I was just kind of doing art for people, and she's just like, stop that. She's like, make people pay for your work. She's like, you have to learn that skill.
No, I love it.
early on.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's good. That's the technique I like. Good job. Yeah. Stop that. You stop that nonsense.
You stop that right now.
You get paid. You gotta pay. You gotta eat, man. You're 16. You gotta pay the bills.
Exactly.
No, that's good. That's a good mentality. And what an awesome opportunity to be, because I'm always curious of like, who was the first person that ever bought, that wasn't like your family, and that's all nice. It's nice to have your family and your friends, whatever. But like, who's the first person that ever bought a piece of art from you that, and you always remember that. Like you remember that. You remember that very clearly. Like,
to this day.
Like, it's easy to see in your face. Like, you can remember probably exactly the moment and how it felt and, all that stuff. And it changes your life, which, man, we just did that episode not too long ago. And I literally was saying, like, keep yourself open to opportunities. And
absolutely.
And we're always talking about that here. And what a cool spot to just be in. Because probably until then, like, what were you feeling like before then? Like, I know if you were interested in art, but like, if you hadn't been I don't know, did you always think like art can be a career, guy can make a living? Because that's not normal.
No, it's not. When I told my mom I wanted to be an artist, she patted my head and was like, okay. It's like, parents are always sweating that, because it's like, are you going to eat? Are you going to survive? It's hard. It's still hard to this day. But I always did it as an escape. I did it as like a little world that I could be like fully myself in, and express myself and have fun and make people see, like, it was a form of self-esteem for me as well. So it was like, making art was like, if somebody liked my art, they liked me. That was kind of like a median of interacting with people. And I used to make like really creepy monsters and things. I wanted to be a tattoo artist, so it was like, I wanted to make weird shit, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
You're a teenager, you're a preteen. I'm just like, I'll make weird shit. I was like, what can I always wanted to make something that someone had never seen before, like some weird, creepy drawing or something. And so I always thought I thought that maybe that skill could be maybe tattoos. So that's kind of where my head was at, doing illustration and line work. And I actually have a few tattoo designs that are on people, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's next level, and people are like, yeah, I want to put it on my wall. No, I want to put it on me.
Yeah.
Like, that's next level,
Right? I have
cool.
a pretty heartwarming story about that real quick. One drawing that I was not expecting to be a tattoo. Someone in high school, I forget their, I think we were in like physiology or something together, and he wanted me to draw his fursona. So it was like furry persona. And I was like, heck yeah, dude. Like, and he like slipped me a note, because it was like really on the DL, because it wasn't as accepted as it is now. And it still isn't like,
sure.
In the zeitgeist of like, and so I was like, absolutely. And so he told me what his fursona was. I sketched it out. I gave it to him. He paid me $20. He offered me money. And so I was like, let's go.
You're up to $80.
Right?
That's amazing. You're killing it.
I could get like a lot of Taco Bell for that.
You're killing it. All right, so you got $20. Kids slipped you this. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to keep the tally
it's okay.
up. By the end of it, we're just gonna go piece by piece.
Don't tell the IRS, okay?
It's gonna be a long podcast episode. We're gonna go piece by piece, exactly how much you've sold, and then at the end, I'm gonna tally it all up. Just so you know. Okay, that's good. We're at 80. Okay, so go ahead.
And probably like more than a month later, he like, he sit next to me, he pokes me, and I'm like, hey, what's up? He pulls up his shorts, and he got it tattooed on his thigh. And Amazing. He was just like was just like Amazing. Super stoked about it. And I was just like, wow.
That's amazing though. Like, that's a cool feeling. So again, you're still in high school when this happened?
Yeah, still in high school.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. So now you've got, a teacher that has a piece of art, and you've got a friend that has another piece of art on their body now. So Yeah, no wonder you're like, all right, well, I guess I got to do art now forever.
Yeah. I guess I'm stuck now. That's what I got to
I'm
do.
stuck now. I did it. All right, but
Yeah.
I do know in part of your story here, art wasn't always maybe going to be a forever thing. I know that there was some some escapades into teaching that maybe didn't end
Oh.
so well. Yeah, I learned about that as well. So maybe
Oh my gosh.
because as if we're going to talk about our successes, I think we also have to talk a little bit about our failures and how we deal
Oh,
with
I will
that.
talk failures all day. I have a long list. How long do we have here? Let's
Let's just dive a little bit into so you've done some art, you graduated high school. What's the next move now? You went to art school, and
went to art
then what happened after
school.
that?
So after art school, I graduated after 5 years. And so I moved from San Francisco down to here to Southern California. And
Yeah.
I know, most jobs are like some jobs are like, somebody who knows somebody.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I knew somebody who knew somebody, and they were like, hey, there's this company that, I won't say the company, but there's a company that contracts just,
No, it's good. Nobody needs to be sued here. It's fine. It's good.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, it's good. Don't get me in trouble because you're. Yeah, no, we don't need to say that. We don't got we don't have that kind of budget here.
Yeah, no. So they were like, you could teach art, and I was just like, whoa. I had just graduated, and I was kind of in a little lull from art because I was burnt out from painting and art, and
right.
I was just kind of distancing myself for a little bit. But then this opportunity came about, and I could interview and I could teach art to kids, and I was like, well, that sounds cool, and I'd be using my degree right after school. That is so fucking rare in this world, I was like, I would be remiss if I didn't take that opportunity, right?
Yeah, 100%.
But I didn't have a teaching degree. That's the thing, where I know how to paint. Do I know how to talk to your 4-year-old? Not really.
Also, that's a crazy stretch. That's I get if you want to teach adults that maybe have painted a little bit, but it's like, no, you're going to have 4-year-old hyped up, sugar, boogery, 4-year-olds running around. You got to be like, okay, kids, let's learn all the theory I just learned in this very fancy education system.
Right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
the first
luck.
few classes, they were okay. So there was private classes where I would go to the house, I'd teach the kids. It was very contained. It was maybe 4 or 5 kids. They were maybe 10, I could gear it towards a few kids in a house, and I could, that was fine. It was, it was doable. Okay. I'm still sweating bullets, but I'm doable. Yeah. And then they come at me and they're like, well, why don't there's an opportunity at a charter school where you could teach, art and chemistry.
Yes,
together.
Yeah, obviously.
And I was like, oh yeah, because I'm Bill Nye. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I barely remember chemistry in high school. That's the last time I even thought about it.
Have no real teaching degree.
No teaching degree, no experience with children, no experience in science.
Well, I love your enthusiasm that you said yes. You said yes. I don't know if it was a willing yes, but you said it. You did it.
I did it. The caveat too was that since it was a charter school, there was 4, 5, 6-year-olds in the same class. This was their very first experience in a classroom. Previously, they were homeschooled. So add a thick layer on top of non-qualified for this job position. I'm just trying to not swear the whole time, right? I'm having to and the thing was not even the kids were one thing, but it was the parents that was the other thing. No hate to parents. Okay, I know I'm not a parent, so I don't know the job.
I've coached many sports at all the levels. I will speak up for you and say no. Screw some parents.
Yeah.
No. Good, great. Some parents, great. Other parents,
amazing.
Horrible, bad helicopter parents. No. I will stick up for you in that.
Thank you.
I will say the thing. Yeah, I will say the thing. As a person who has been approached many times by parents who have been like, my kid needs to make this very important team. I'm like, they suck. They're not gonna. Here's a tennis racket. Go practice something else. So sorry. Yes.
Yeah. Oh my, the first day was the worst because I
Mm.
went in, I was all ready, I had the curriculum, and I'm trying to talk about, because I had to put together my curriculum, I had to get like together um, art projects that also were chemistry projects. So I looked on
Yeah.
Pinterest. Pinterest was my whole curriculum,
Right.
you know, and I was trying to explain it to the kids, and then two of the parents were in the back,
Mm.
whispering or whatever, and the superintendent comes in and they're like, "Hey, let's go outside and play a game." And I was like, I don't, okay, I don't have a game. Okay, cool, let's go. And so we went outside. I don't know what game we played. I was like literally blacked out. I was just like, I don't know what's happening right now. And afterwards, she came up to me and she said, "Yeah, the moms in the back of the classroom were saying that you were talking a little bit too much, and they could see the kids' eyes glazing over, and they needed to do something else." And I was just like, "Oh, great. I'm going to go cry in my car."
That's great. And we need those mothers $10,000 checks. So if you could just do
I
whatever
know.
they say,
Yeah.
that would be wonderful.
Oh my gosh. Throughout the whole semester, it was, "You're teaching too much. The kids should
Mm.
play." And so I would
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
games up, and then they'd be like, "The kids are playing too much. They need to learn." And I'm just like,
Mm. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. You're like, I'm an artist.
I know.
What the fuck? How did I get
Seriously.
here? Like, was
Seriously,
that
I'm
running
trying
through
to
your head over? Because
corral.
I'm sure this period
Oh,
of time is kind of taken over a little while. So it's like that probably now is going through your head of like, I'm an artist.
mm-hmm.
This is not what I want to do.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, yeah,
No.
yeah.
And if I want to be a teacher at some point, that would be really cool, but I want to learn how to teach. And especially skills
Right,
with children. They'd be like, "You
right.
can't tell them no." And I'd be like, "Okay, he's
Mm.
about to eat glitter. What am I going to say? What's my approach to him about to eat glitter?"
Enjoy.
Excuse me. Yeah. Rock on. Like, okay.
Only
Let
one
me know what
spoon.
flavor it
Just
is.
one small
Yeah.
spoon. Don't take a big spoon.
At least don't share the spoon, okay? That's gross with germs.
Yeah, there you go. Great advice. I don't know how you haven't made it in that career yet.
I know.
That's amazing. I like it. Okay, so what happens what happens when you make that shift? So you're like, oh no, I'm out of here. Like, how does that shift happen then?
It was a lot of work outside, like with the curriculum and all that kind of stuff, and I wasn't being paid enough in my it just
Mm,
wasn't enough money for
sure.
what I was
Yeah.
putting myself through.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think it was a great experience. I carry it with me as I went on my journey, but I was just like, I'm going to be a server at a restaurant and
Right.
make money and save
Yeah.
money. Because I
Yeah. Yeah.
know I've been a barista, I've been a server, I've worked in the restaurant industry before. This is bread and butter. I can do this, and so I ended up doing that, and like directly after, to save some money, because
Mm.
art school is
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah. Fancy,
I was like,
fancy academy university.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
academy.
right. Yeah. That's fair. So we need to save up some money. So that makes sense. That makes sense to me, because that's another thing that I think a lot of creatives don't appreciate. And what we talk about a lot here is like, you don't have, like, you can do a different thing. So like, as you're waitressing and saving up money, are you still practicing art on the side?
Yeah, so there was that period of like me like stiff arming art and just being like, I
Yeah.
don't want to touch it, because
Mm-hmm.
honestly, when I graduated school, I wasn't where I thought I would be or wanted to be, so I was a
Mm.
little bit sour
Oh, where'd
on
you think you were going to be? I'm curious.
um I th-
Where'd you think you were going to be?
I thought I'd maybe make it in the spring show, like
Oh.
maybe, and I entered works in the spring show and I got denied, and
Mm.
I went through a lot. Like, that's like a whole art school is like that was like a whole thing, but I
It's
wasn't
a lot of
at the
critique,
level I
right?
wanted to
It's
be.
a lot of
It's a lot of
critiquing.
critique. It's
Right.
a lot of critiquing, and I was going through a lot of personal
Mm.
things too, so it was just like I didn't apply myself as much as possible.
Sure.
And I was like 18 in the city with no curfew, like
Right. Yeah.
a lot of work didn't get done those first few years.
That's fair though. But yeah, what an interesting. But I think that's important for people to hear it and like really hear it. It was like,
Yeah,
what, you had this awesome opportunity, and but it didn't ruin your life. Look where you are now. Like, so what if you weren't quite where you thought you were? It's that life is like that. And
absolutely.
I think we forget that, and we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. Like, you were 18, the fuck do you know?
Yeah,
Like,
right?
and then when you graduate and you're like, well, I deserve to be in the spring show. And it's like, no, you didn't. Like,
No,
imagine,
you didn't.
like,
Did you finish a Did you finish one painting? No.
Right.
They were always unfinished, but I like that style. I like the unfinished style. It's like, no, you just didn't finish any of your paintings.
Yeah.
I would
That's amazing. I love that. You're like, not even finished. I love that story. I love that the sheer like confidence. You're just like, yeah, it's a style. It's a choice. I made a choice. It's like, no, you fucking didn't. You didn't make a choice. You're fucking lazy or partied or whatever.
No, I was. No, 100%. I would you can't cram for a painting. I'd stay till like the last minute. I'd stay up all night painting. I'd be on the bus to school with a wet painting, like on public transit, like trying to block people from touching my painting. And the teacher knows it's wet. The teacher knows it's wet because they can see it's wet, and they're just like, "Did you stay up all night doing this?"
Rachel, did you do this one again? You're like, yes, I did it. That was me.
That was me.
That's amazing though. So I want to dig into that a little bit because the confidence to do that, or was it confidence or was it just whatever? You know,
the turning in of the things last minute was very me not budgeting my time well and wanting to like do extracurricular activities and things and smoke a lot of weed.
Extracurricular activities. You weren't into play. You weren't like crocheting or something. What are you talking? Like I know. Yeah. We know what you mean here. Yeah. All right. Extracurricular, sure.
Yeah, extracurriculars. I was getting my credits.
So diplomatic.
My street credits.
That's awesome. But that's how life is. That's how life is. And I love this story because it's like, I don't know. Yeah. And like but now you're doing art full time. Like, I don't know, like, and at that point, your life was probably on a little roller coaster. I mean, it probably still is, but you're doing art full time now,
Exactly.
And that to me is the message of like, you persisted, Yeah. I think that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be like full speed. It doesn't have to look like this, right? Oh my gosh. Like for forever, I thought it was that. And it's like this, right? It's always like this. And then you zoom out and then you can see the growth over time. But those downs and ups and we're over here. I'm selling stones for countertops. Okay.
Yeah. I did learn that you were a countertop sales lady. But sometimes you just need to take detours and that rest. Yeah. Like, can we talk a little bit about that rest period where you did stiff arm art and you were like, I can't do art. I can't be surrounded by art. Like, what was that? Like, tell me like the feelings, the ideas, what was going on in that moment?
Yeah. So like I said, I was just like, I think it was some very mixed emotions. A lot of it was shame from not being where I wanted to be. And, I moved to a new place. I was living with like an ex and his mom. So I like the space I was in. I was trying to fit into somebody else's life a little bit. So it was like getting my bearings to paint. It felt a little bit like I had to kind of crawl into it. Like working and painting. I kind of just wanted to not feel that shame. So I kind of just put it in the back of my head. And I kind of just was like, I'll come back. I know I'll come back. It's in me forever, but I know I'll come back when I'm ready. Yeah. And I got a commission, like family friend commission. And so that kind of got me painting again. Really the thing that I owe to getting back into painting is called the Portrait Artist of the Year. Yeah. I don't know if you've heard of the show.
Yeah. Well, I know the show. I know you like totally dove into it. Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
It's the most random thing.
It's just this one, and like, but you left yourself. Clearly, you still had like some spark, some ember left, right? So I mean, you said it yourself. Like it was still in there. You just weren't sure how it was going to come out. So that's awesome. Yeah. So tell for those who don't know what the Portrait Artist of the Year is.
Let me enlighten you.
Please enlighten the audience. Yes, please.
I don't know I think most of the seasons may still be on YouTube. But it's in the UK. It's a show where they have like 3 sitters, which is like models for painting portraits. Sometimes they're famous athletes or actors or musicians, or sometimes they're just like bigger folks. I don't know if they were ever like not well-known people,
Mm.
And so you would have 3 sitters, and I think there were four to six artists per sitter. And so they would all be painting a portrait in 4 hours. So we'd be people with oil paints, acrylic paints, charcoal, watercolor, printmaking, pen and ink, like any kind of medium you wanted. You just had to get the portrait down in the 4 hours. And
Yeah.
so seeing all these different people from really classically traditional painting, like what I learned in school, to like very expressive, colorful, fast, more abstracted, like risk takey art that I never really like pursued because I was kind of scared.
Yeah.
Just seeing everyone express themselves in different ways, I was like, well, I kind of want to use those colors. Like, oh, how did that person, they exaggerated this or that, or they did a portrait like this. And the more I watched it, the more I was like, okay, well, maybe I do want to paint right now.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
it's that like I've always been inspired by watching people make, and there's that spark of like, oh, like it may be the smallest thing as like a color or a mark they made or something they said or the way the sitter was posed, that is like, maybe I want to capture something like that. And
Yeah.
so that got me on my merry way. I started with like self portraits because that's my comfort zone of like, um, if I mess up my own face, that's completely fine with me. I don't want to mess up somebody else's face. Like,
Right. Yeah. That's fair.
and it's like I know my own face, so the subject matter isn't foreign. It's the way that I approach the painting. So sometimes when I'm trying a new like style or color palette or something, I'll do a self portrait because I painted myself 1,000 times. So the
Mm.
subject matter isn't the skill that I'm trying to achieve. It's the like how I'm creating the thing. So
Yeah. I've actually seen,
yeah,
so I actually had a question in here
sure.
because I was so curious about, it looked like you have no fear to paint and then repaint over top. And you have probably multiple videos of yourself like painting over a painting of yourself on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, it's so fascinating. That was really fascinating to me because I think there's so many artists that are like, oh, I must paint this one thing. It must be perfect. And when it's perfect, then I must set it aside and I either sell it or, but I can't touch it, you know? And when I first saw your, I don't know, your brashness to just like erase whatever was there and just be like, well, now it's a totally black painting or what, you know,
Hmm.
it's like totally monochrome. And I was like, whoa, she just took a perfectly nice painting and just fucked it up. But then turned it into a really nice other piece. And I'm like, whoa, who the hell taught you that? Who said, like, you know, so many artists would be so shy to do that. You know, where,
Hmm.
like, how did that come out? Because I think that's really cool that you can take any piece and you could just be like, yeah, well, I'm just doing it a million times over. And I think I kind of get what you were saying before around like, well, I'm practicing different skills, you know, it's not, I
Yeah.
don't care about the end piece. I'm actually worried about the process.
The process, that's something that, oh, I want to touch on that. Like the process over product is something that I am is currently even still trying to focus on and get a handle on, because I do sometimes put the work on a pedestal. I'm
Mm,
I'm I'm definitely guilty of that. But some pieces, if I just don't like it, if there's a little thing about it, I'm like, oh, gone. Like, oh, I
right.
just let me use this canvas, because canvas, like I only have so many canvases. I don't want to go buy a new one.
Mm.
So sometimes I'll just be like, you made the cut, buddy. Like, mm-mm. And so I'm just like, I have like a stack of paintings that I will paint over because I just like,
Nice.
I'm like, I don't want to go back to that place and fix it. So I'd rather just paint over it and use the canvas for something else.
That's
Um,
amazing. I love
and if
that.
it's not going in the direction I want it to, it's also like mad frustration. I am, I will get just like to a point of like, nope, I hate it. Nope. It's just like gone forever. It's
Erase,
kind of like
erase.
erase. And it's
Hmm.
like the monks, like they make mandalas out of sand and then they wipe it away, and it's all about that process of creating and not focusing on that final product, and like, wow,
Mm.
look, I did that, and like, okay, do it again, you know. Trying not to have that product on a pedestal is something I think as artists we like really have to work towards every single day.
Mm. Yeah,
At
yeah.
least
Did
I
you
do.
hear that? Did you hear that, listeners? Make
Yeah.
shit and then get rid of it and then make another piece of shit and then just
Hmm.
keep going.
Keep
I
going
have said that
because
I condone that. I'm fully on your side with that. I'm like, just keep making, just keep trying. Also, nobody cares about the thing you painted yesterday. You know, that was
yeah.
yesterday.
And if you're trying to learn a new skill, you're going to make, I'd hate to use the word bad, you're going to make paintings that you don't really like as much because you're learning
Yeah.
the skill. That is something
Yeah.
that I'm trying new things currently. And it's like, I will get like, I'll do a painting. I'll be like, it sucks. But then it's like, nope, like you're learning and it's supposed to suck because if
Right.
like, and I hate to use the word suck too. I hate to be like, I'm very self-negative. I bully
Yeah.
myself. So I
Sure.
try,
Oh
I try
no,
not
another
to.
artist that self-bullies themselves? No way. I don't believe,
Unique.
can't believe
One,
it.
one of a kind.
You must be so unique. In a
Oh my God.
creative
I'm
that
not like
doesn't
other
like the stuff
artists.
that they make. Holy shit. Oh fuck. If I had a penny, if I had
Finally.
half a penny for every time I met an artist that was like, oh yeah, some of my stuff's not very good. I was like, just post it, just shut up. I have a
Yeah.
friend who posts so many like beautiful, beautiful pieces that like things that I'm just not practiced at, so I could never do right now. You know, it doesn't. I'm not saying I couldn't do it, but the stuff that he's doing now, and then he posts it, and he has it's almost like an apologetic, you know, comment in the bottom, and I'm like, just post a fucking painting, shut
Oh,
up, like just post it and shut up,
I
you
feel
know?
that. Oh
Yeah,
man, yeah.
yeah. So that's interesting. That's interesting though because when I wouldn't have necessarily thought that about you because of some of the things I see in a very quick way. Like if you just go through and you're like, wow, I admire the fact that you just like erased that painting, you know, and did something totally different. Yeah, so I wouldn't have thought that about you. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of
And I think it's
course.
important that people keep hearing that, that you can still. So how do you work through that? Actually, that's my question.
The
Are you still learning to work through that?
the not putting it on a pedestal kind of thing and can just keep
Yeah,
going.
or that like you know when you like that self doubt and you're like why don't you just quit painting then? Like you know
Oh,
how do you just keep painting?
that comes to every few days.
Right,
I
right.
I'm like obviously not obviously, but a lot of artists are perfectionists,
Mm.
and I've been like that my whole life. When it comes to like school, I was like straight A's, and I was like things got to be perfect, and
Except for
well,
when you were in university and did some extracurricular activity.
up
Anyway,
till
sorry.
college, let's say that
Up
my
until
senior
college.
year of high school was like my first like B minus or something, like sort
Mm.
of sophomore or whatever. But
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
the perfectionism is so hard to shake, right?
Mm.
And I dealing with that is just a daily struggle for me, and like not putting my soul self-worth into my art is one of the main things that I struggle with and I try to work on. And I feel like
Mm.
as artists, we're just like defined by our last painting in our heads. At least I am. It's just like, well, that one was good. Got to show up next time even better. And like, oh, I peaked. There we go. Bye guys. It's been so much fun. I peaked. I'm just gonna. It's over. You know.
I
Um,
like that you said in your own head
yeah.
because that's the key. Like
Hmm.
it's just you're just looking at it. Your eyes don't see what I see. You know, your brain doesn't
Exactly.
think what I think. You know, and they're like, you know, I wish we could hold up more mirrors or see through other people's eyeballs and like get into their brain. You know, and so who is it in your life, or do you have people in your life that you like fully trust of like, you know, when they say positive things about your art or about you know anything in your creative world? Do you have those people that are in your life? Because I know for sure you definitely have them, but do you listen to them? I suppose over your own brain.
My brain is very loud, dude.
Yeah, I think
it's
most creatives' brains are. But I'm like, why do you
it's
believe your own dumb brain and not like the 18 other people or the hundreds
right.
of other people? Like, why do we do that?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I feel like
Rachel, go
we
back to your
write.
biology and tell me,
I
tell me from
know.
your teaching career
Oh, the
why do we
chemistry.
do
Okay,
that?
so atoms, you know,
Like, why do we do that though? Like, why do creatives do
electrons.
that? You know, that's
Uh,
bonkers.
I think we tell ourselves we write our own stories in our head and we tell ourselves, and it bounces around so much that it's all that we hear sometimes. Especially, um, we've been doing that our whole lives. Like the way
Mm,
that we view the world is then perceived through our brain, and that's kind of reality. That's existence. And I feel like if we carve those wrinkles into our brain, so deep. Like it's kind of like it's like a muscle memory, but it's like a thought muscle memory. Like my knee jerk reaction is, oh, it's shit. It got to be better. It's got to be better. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think that and I like I am negative to the point of like that's how I get better. Like I shit on my work so much, like that's how I get better sometimes. Like that's been my MO for like,
Okay.
I mean, not like
Okay. All right. That's one way
fully,
of going. That's one way of doing
not
it. Yeah.
not fully. That's not the way you should do it, by the way. Please don't do that.
Yeah. Please don't do this. Stop doing that.
Please don't do that. Don't
Rachel's very
listen to me.
wrong here.
Okay,
Rachel doesn't know
I'm
what she's talking about. She's very wrong.
Cut it.
Stop listening to this episode right now. No, but it's true though, and you're not
I'm just
alone
trying
in
to be
that.
honest. Like
You're not no, and it's great, and you're not alone in that. Like there's so many people, but and part of the reason that I want to do this whole podcast and any of this work is to try and figure out how we can get better at that. Like how, why have you ever finished a piece and just been like, fuck yeah, this is amazing. No notes. I don't have anything to say about it. This is perfect. I'm going to put it over here. Like, have you ever done a piece of work like that?
I think so. I think like so a lot of the fantasy landscapes that I do, those are usually like one and dones. I'm like in the place, I go there, and then it's like I'm visiting. It's like sometimes I'll put little like portals in there because it feels like I'm like teleporting to this place, and then I come back. So I feel like it's all contained in one sitting. I'm in this place, and then now I'm out of it. Like sometimes I don't return to those paintings because it was in the moment how I felt, where I was, and going back to it and trying to fix it feels like taking away some of that magic of the moment, and like trying to be present in that moment and preserve it. I mean, I could always go back and work on it, but there's a few pieces where I'll make it and I'll be like, yeah, I really like it, and I don't want to go back because I want to move forward. I feel like, it like the bread. Like, I don't know. There's just something about living in the moment and being present and mindful, and that relating to art, and like trying to go back and work on something where you were a different person maybe a year ago, 2 years ago. Sometimes that's really hard for me to go back and work on art because I feel like a different person, and I feel like what I'm trying to say now, it would be different than what I was trying to say then. I'm very like short-lived on my paintings. Like if I'm working on a painting and somebody dibs it, which means they want to buy it, I will hunker down and like finish it to my best of my abilities. I will also do that with commissions, but when it comes to like personal work, it's very fleeting and it's very temporary. It feels like I'm in this place, and now I want to go to this place. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was.
And it totally does. And
was that word?
And
soup?
you let it. You let it happen, and I can fully understand that. I think almost any creative that's sitting here is like, I don't know, you have this like urgent desire or need to like create this thing right now. I think any creative, that's how right? That's how I knew like I wanted to do any of this kind of work. I was supposed to be a computer engineer. I've said that. I don't need to tell the whole story, but I like, and then the first time like we started picking up cameras and we started like telling stories, and I'm like, oh fuck, I just want to tell more stories. And I want to try to understand human beings, and it's like I can't stop myself, like I was like, I just need to, and when you're not, you're like, oh god, the world sucks, and then you're like, wait, but also I could tell more stories, or I could paint, or I could take more photos, or whatever, and you're like, oh shit, yeah, everything's great, like let's do that. Let's have more conversations, let's get more messages out, whether it's in painting or art or drawing or photography or whatever. That's really cool. So I totally understand that, like in the moment, and then being done with it and being like, ooh, now I have this new inspiration. Like, I need to paint this thing, or I need to do this thing now. Yeah, that's interesting. That's cool. Absolutely. That's a good journey. So okay, so now you're so you were a cabinet or a countertop sales lady for a minute. You were a teacher for a minute, a barista, server. When do we make the leap to become a full-time fortified artist?
So selling countertops through 20. I know way too much about countertops. If you have any questions about, if anybody needs a new countertop, let me know because I know way
Different
too much
podcast.
about
Different
stuff.
podcast. I'll have you on the other podcast when I start a countertop podcast.
Okay,
you'll
cool.
be number one on the list.
It was super random, but
I do appreciate it though. I do appreciate the
oh
offer.
yeah.
You're in that world. You're selling countertops.
I'm selling it like through COVID too. So construction actually boomed during COVID, and so
Okay.
I was working through it. I'm very lucky I didn't lose my job, but we were working overtime, and while I was doing that, I was also working on commissions as well. So I was doing commission work. I had steady commissions through like 2020 into 2021, and which I'm very thankful for. It was a lot of work, full-time job, commissions on the side, and I was just working so dang hard. And the countertop place, I was good at my job, and I was putting like 100,000% effort into it, and I just I didn't feel like I was like my hard work was getting as recognized or as valued as I thought it was worth. And I was like, man, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I am putting 1,000% into somebody else's baby, into somebody else's like company, into somebody else's dream. And if I could apply that to my own dream, could be pretty cool. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
Who
but
knows?
I wanted to give it that try because I went to school, I got the degree. It was almost like I saw like an opportunity to jump, and if I don't jump now, when am I going to jump? It's that really fuzzy feeling in my stomach when I do something really big and I get super anxious. That's when I know I need to do the thing. And it sucks and it's scary and my whole body is just like telling me, no, don't do it. But it's that like, man, you do hard things, like the things that scare us. Oh my gosh, go do it. Maybe don't pet snakes or something. I don't know. Or swim with sharks, whatever your thing is. But
you don't have to do all of them.
You don't have to do it, at least not at the same time. At least, parcel it out.
Yeah. Pick your moments.
But and what's funny is the Babe Ross name came in like 2019. So I was still at the counter shop place, and I was at my cousin's like wedding in Tulum, Mexico, and I was thinking about Twitch because I was like watching video games on Twitch. I didn't know there was an art community at all. I didn't like. Right. I just was like, well, people watch Bob Ross paint and say cool stuff about life. So what about I'm a girl, and so the Babe Ross, I was like, it's funny because it's a pun. I love puns. It sounds funny. And so I kind of stuck that in my back pocket as the idea of the name and kind of went on my merry way. And the end of 2020, I finally was like, you know what? I'm going to quit the job. I gave him like 2 months notice. I was very kind about it. And I'm going to January 1st be a full-time artist. And January 1st hit real hard. If I'm gonna say that.
You're like, oh shit, what am I doing?
What am I doing?
And you wake up at like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. and you're like, well, it's the first day of work.
Yep.
Here we go.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wow.
Terrifying.
Yeah, that's cool. Wow, cold turkey too, right? Like that's like you didn't go down part-time or anything. I mean, it obviously took a while, but you were like, I'm out.
Yeah.
No more countertops for this lady. Only paintings.
Only paintings. Yeah.
That's amazing. So did you have work built up? Or I mean, did you have like work coming in? Did you have commissions at that time, or?
I had some clients that I like spoke to, and no one was interested at the time. So that was a little bit. We didn't do it like the best way. I didn't have anything lined up. I kind of. Cool. Yeah. I'd saved up money. This would be a thing if anyone's planning on doing this. Saves your like safety net. So it'd be like
how much did you save up? Like, was it like I can pay the mortgage or the rent for like 3 months, 6 months?
Yeah.
How did you calculate?
I was like at least like 6 months to a year in between that point where I was like, I can survive if I fall flat on my face, and I can, because I'll pick up a job like that. I don't care. I would be a barista tomorrow if I needed to be. Like, I don't like, doesn't matter. If I'm making money, I'm making money. And so I saved up enough to where I felt comfortable that I could be without for if I needed to be. And
Mm.
but luckily I got a commission for a cat painting from somebody I knew through somebody else on Instagram, and
Yep.
my aunt commissioned a big painting, so I was like, cool, I have 2 commissions. And I was going to start streaming, and I I started at the end of January. It took me the whole month to get up the courage to like press the go live button and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
be in front of people. And I did not expect streaming to go the way it did. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
expect the trajectory that I have experienced thus far, and it's been speechless, incredible. Like, I can't put words to it.
You probably also didn't think you'd be doing. You thought you'd probably be painting nicely on there, right? Like you. So you said that you saw Bob Ross paint and talk about life nicely. So for anybody, so if you're listening, you're gonna miss out. You're gonna hear a little bit, but if you're watching, I actually just so we give people an idea of kind of what's going on.
Uh-huh.
I did. There's a small section here. If you're watching on YouTube, good for you. You're gonna see the whole brevity of it. If you're listening, you're gonna miss out, but you're still gonna hear. You're gonna see some stuff. You're gonna hear some stuff. I feel like we'll be okay. So I just to put us into context here of
Sure.
what we're doing here.
Context is so important. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is good.
My name is Babe Ross, and I'm a brilliant artist and a wonderful human who brightens everyone's day. Yes, I am.
Don't clip that! Art Mommy time! Welcome to the Art Mommy Show. I'm your host, Art Mommy. Do our cool stuff. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. You already preemptively, you're welcome. Now I can say I'm scratching my balls, and no one can question. Hey, I got something in my ball. Happy Tuesday, innit? Where are we going? We're going over here. Into the void. I tricked you! You're now in the void with me! Hey, cover those feet there, TOS. They're not TOS, they're TOES. Toes. I can do this one. Lessons for life.
So if you have missed out on a twitch.tv/babe_Ross with 3 S's at the end, you are missing out. It is a treat. It is a time. That's what I walked into. I think I don't believe I saw any art, at least for the first probably 1 or 2 hours. But that's fascinating to me, and I just had to put that together. I had to share that little bit.
Thank you.
Because people, I don't think, fully realize what it means to do art full time, or that there can be a different way of doing art full time.
Absolutely.
So that's one way of doing it.
That is one way of doing it.
That's why I just wanted to see, if you had any comments or thoughts about what you thought Twitch would be versus what it has become.
Sure, that's a great question.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I didn't expect the art community. I didn't expect how incredible everyone was. I thought I'd just be like, oh, maybe somebody, because I watch big streamers like do like just chatting, or I was video games or like political chats or whatever. And so I was like, if they can do it, I can do it, right?
Right.
There's that unearned confidence again.
Love it.
Yeah. I was like, well, people watch Bob Ross paint, so they could watch me paint. I could talk. I could teach as much as possible. So my very first stream, I think I have a clip from, I think the very second stream. The first one is gone into the ether, but I'm like very quietly talking, and I've got like lo-fi on, and I have my notes of things to say because I wouldn't know what to talk about if I didn't have notes.
Okay, that's cool. I don't think you have those notes anymore.
No, definitely not.
No, I don't. No, okay, that's interesting. But yeah, so interesting though, right? So this is episode 2. You've got some notes here. You've paint chat time.
Quietly, yeah, quiet and chatting about like my art experience in school and like talking about the
Mm-hmm.
process. I painted a skull. I still have that first painting. And as I met, I think I met like Wrenches Woodworks, who was part of the making and crafting community, and introduced me to the making and craft, the makers and crafters, the Craftsman's Guild, Crafters Corner, the Discord I'm a part of, and all these people just welcomed me with open arms, and they were just like, "Heck yeah!" I had been painting like people from The Office because I love The Office, and I was like, "This will be fun. I can practice portraits. It's something I can talk about. It's something people like." So I thought it would be like go over well, and I did about a set of them, and they were doing this challenge of a set and make a set of whatever it is. So they pushed me to submit the set of paintings, and it was their first painting set that had ever been submitted. And so I met absolutely incredible people who I still follow, I'm still friends with, and that was like my first experience of community on Twitch, and really opened me up to what that meant and how many different types of art there are, and crafting and making and like people's stories, and the support and love that is on Twitch is like no other. I hadn't had like a creative community of friends since art school, and so I haven't been surrounded by creative people. It's just,
Right.
and I think that changes like that. I think that's really important to be surrounded by creative people because it's constantly inspiring you to try new things and with ideas and pushing you to grow and learn. And they also really helped me with the logistics of streaming, like the tech stuff, because I'll beep boop bop boop. I don't know what I'm doing. Like
Right. There's a lot of buttons.
a lot of buttons.
There's a lot of buttons. But that's so
Uh,
true though about what you said about finding community, and that's I don't care if people find it on Twitch or where. We always are talking
yeah.
about find your people. You can go find your people anywhere. Like there are groups of people, and I think adults forget that, right? Because where you do it in school and then you go to work, but what if you're a solo creator? I think that can be
Mm-hmm.
very lonely, and I don't think people talk enough about building that community. And that's one of the things I've loved about your stream and what's happening in there now is it is just a fun place to be. Art and as much as I show, so if you heard and saw those clips that we played, I also could have easily come through and found 9,000 other very, very meaningful, important discussion clips, right? Where people are talking about, like, you do such a good job of like, showing how to do art, showcasing other people's art, giving people encouragement, giving people a platform. It's not just your platform anymore. I feel like it's just, you're like, hey, here's a channel and we're all going to make some art. And like, you've got your fridge, where you put other people's arts up on. And, I think that's so important. You've done all of that, you've taken what could have just been yours and you've broadened it to a wider community. And I think that goes a long way, and it's super fun to watch, and as much fun as as people go in and have fun, there's a lot of learning too. And I could have pulled out 9,000 other clips of you actually teaching people how to paint and giving them the confidence to even try painting, which I think is really cool too. So
Thanks.
kudos to you, and kudos to the community for participating
Yeah.
and making it such a fun place.
There wouldn't be, I like to call it our channel, like our
Yeah,
stream,
yeah.
because it's like it wouldn't be anything if it wasn't for everybody there. I say that all the time.
Mm.
It's like I would just be sitting
Yeah.
here painting if you guys weren't
Yeah.
here. If
Yeah.
people weren't here, it wouldn't be anything, and I
Right.
know like, and the encouragement from people, even like the cross like of communities, it's not, I don't feel like it's like my community. I hate to, that's kind of a weird thing to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah.
I don't feel ownership over it because it's people from so many other streams and so many other places coming together. So it's just kind of conglomerate of like of different people from other places. And so this is where we like hang and we do like silly stuff and teach art and do kind of things here, and then
Yeah.
we all hang out
Yeah.
in somebody else's channel, and there's like most of those people are over there or over there. And I learned to like showcase the work and build that like community Not For Myself from Moko Made. I'm a Moko Loco. I'm on their stream team, and they're all about community. They're all about showcasing other people's work and supporting other people's small businesses and endeavors. And they shart, which is sharing art. And so my sharing art.
Thank you for defining that.
Yeah, they shart every single day. It's crazy.
Sharing art.
Sharing
they share art.
Share art.
For those who are listening that don't know what sharting is, they sharing other people's art. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, that's very good. Thank you.
Of course. And so I saw them do that, and I was like, oh, that's incredible that they do that, and I want to integrate that into my stream as well, into our stream, our channel. And so it feels like very much it was not like it takes a village to raise anything, and so I feel like with so many people have helped me along the way, to say that it was I made the choice to make the leap. That was the cool thing I did, but the whole entire journey had not been fully me. And also to keep doing the thing, because were there moments and there maybe are still moments now where you're like, I don't really want to do the thing, or it's hard, or I'm sick, or like how frequently, because this is a thing that I get very passionate about, is like people often say to me, oh, I tried that and it didn't work. I'm like, okay, but did you try it one way one time? Did you try it a different way another time? Did you give it 10 days before you said it actually didn't work? How did those feelings, obviously when you first started, like you said, you were reading a script, and you had to do those streams. they probably sucked ass, but you had to do those streams. Absolutely.
Right? And it was like, okay, but now, like, when was the first time I don't know, when was the first time you drew a mustache on your face and was like, this is what an art stream is now? Because again, if you didn't watch on YouTube, you'll see some clips. You saw the clips of Rachel with multiple different types of mustaches, and the courage that the mustache ensues upon you is quite unreal. Actually,
I take on a whole new personality.
Different person.
Absolutely.
There's pre-mustache and then there's post-mustache. Man, if you go to stream post-mustache,
you better be buckled in.
You're in for a ride. I can't even say some of the things that have been said and shown post-mustache on this podcast. So please go tune in yourself, because it's a time. It's a time.
Yeah, you don't want to miss out. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a time.
The first mustache was actually, I remember it like it was yesterday.
Of course you do.
You never forget your first. It was I was doing a charity stream for Stand Up to Cancer, the brick building community. I was invited by Amish Ace and like the Lego brick building community. They were doing a Stand Up to Cancer charity streamathon, raid thing, and I was like, heck yeah, I'll do that. I'll paint Lego Batman, and we'll eat a really spicy gummy bear, which is very bad.
I didn't put that clip in.
Spicy things.
I didn't put that clip in. I had that clip, just so you know. I didn't put it in.
It's my most watched clip.
It's a very bad. It's a very terrible clip. I mean, it's a great clip, but I feel bad for you.
It was. I don't eat spicy things on stream anymore. But
no, fair. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the level or two before that was drawing a mustache on myself, and people loved it. And I was like, you know what? This is a fun redeem I can do for a lot of channel points. Someone can feel special in that they can redeem it at the beginning. There's only one per stream, so your mustache or a beard or eyebrows or whatever you want can be on my face for the whole stream. And I think it's fun and it's funny, and it has made several moments. And I honestly didn't think I would be the streamer who draws a mustache on herself, but that's like you were talking about in the beginning, is don't like always be open to opportunity and keep your expectations. Oh God, expectations. Like keep them malleable. Don't make them so rigid in that you can't move them and they can't bend and shape into something else, because there's this Eastern philosophy proverb that's like a tree that's really stiff and sturdy has its branches out, and a bunch of snow gets piled up on it and it breaks. But a tree that has like thinner, more nimble limbs that can move and bend, it'll bend to the snow, and then the snow will fall off and it'll bounce back. So I feel like
what a great image.
Right?
I feel like you're an amazing artist and an educator to be able to say that. It makes a lot of sense though. It's true though.
Right?
It's true. If you are rigid, you're way more likely to break.
Yeah, and if your expectation is it has to look like
Yeah.
this, and if it doesn't look
Yes.
like this, I failed, then
Mm.
you're setting yourself up. You're setting yourself up for a lot of hurt and a lot of
Mm.
and the things that you get that maybe aren't exactly that. You don't pat yourself on the back for. You should be like, "Damn, I made it here," or "I did this thing." Like, or it may resemble that, or also this expectation, move it this way, that way, over here,
Right.
like, or
Right.
get rid of it altogether. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
there,
Yeah. Plant a new tree.
Yeah, exactly. Plant a new tree.
I'm glad that you said that, and I hope that someday you take your advice and listen to it as you critique your own art pieces. That sounds really lovely, Rachel.
It
I like what you've
is.
just said.
Thanks.
It's nice.
I've been like trying to work on expectations a lot, and
That's good.
I'm reading Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. I got into philosophy a little bit after like 2020. I always wanted to take philosophy in school, but I never had the opportunity. So the Stoicism has been really helpful in trying to deal with everyday life and the ups and downs of streaming and being an artist and just kind of living in general.
Yeah.
Being a
that's
person.
great. That's good. Well, that's good because actually I had a question here, and I'm always curious about this, and I forget to ask this question because we get so wrapped up in success and what that looks like. But I think this is the most important question I ever ask people. Are you happy?
Wow.
Are you happy as a creative? Are you happy with where you are?
I would say I'm pretty happy. I would say that. I would say I'm happy in my decision, and there are parts of this journey that there's parts of this journey that are really tough, and I feel like can really break your soul a little bit sometimes, and being able to get back up from those times and keep going, I think is really important. I'm happy. I feel like sometimes making your passion your job can take a little bit of the sparkle out of it sometimes. So when I want to paint for myself, I think, oh, is this going to be a reel? Am I going to sell this? How am I going to how is this going to benefit my career, instead of just sitting down to paint something because I just want to paint something. So balancing the work and the passion has been a little bit of a difficult ride for me, but I would say that I am so grateful, and I can't believe I get to do this. I can't believe I get to do this. Like, if you would have told, 10-year-old me, that you're going to be able to do that teaching you want to do and be able to do that art you want to do and make people happy, because that's the other thing I want to do.
Right.
I want to make people happy. And if I get to do all three of those things, I'm happy. Yeah.
Well, I've been in your stream. I think you do all three of those things. I've seen it. And
I try,
and
at least. I try. It's not perfect, but
no, it's not always perfect. It's like not every stream is going to be like that either, right? And but again, that's that expectation that every time you go live, you're going to be fucking amazing and it's going to be the best stream ever. That's not going to happen.
Exactly.
You're going to have a bad day. You're going to have a good day. The chat's going to be good. The chat's going to be bad. Whatever. There's so many controlling factors that you can't control. But you're, to me, the cool part, and one of the main reasons that I really wanted to have you on is your consistency, and you've showed up to work every day, and I was thinking about, in this conversation right here, I was thinking about, Bob Ross, this. So if you were looking at Bob Ross and thinking you wanted to do that, I feel like the way I'm going to describe your stream from now on will be Bob Ross with extracurricular activities. That's how I feel like I'm going to explain it now, because all of that exists on there. And it's really cool to see. And I'm glad that you said you're happy, and that I'm glad that it's not all happy. I think that's also a falsehood that we need, it's like, oh, everything's going to be happy and roses, and that's amazing. My next question then is, what gives you the most pride in kind of what you're doing or in the journey? And I think you kind of maybe already answered it, but what gives you the most pride in what you're doing?
I think what gives me the most pride in what I'm doing is when I get messages from people who say, I haven't picked up a pencil in 10 years, and watching your stream has inspired me to start drawing again. Or
Mm,
they say, man, or they'll be making something and they'll be like, yeah, I watch your streams. I learned about color from your streams, and I was able to create this from what you um, were teaching on your streams. And
mm.
it like it touches my heart, because that's that feeling that Miss Kirk gave me. That's that like inspiration, and
Mm.
like the fact that people are encouraged to keep going on their art journey, and I could be a helping hand in that. Not even, I don't have to be the driving force, but at least to whisper in your ear and be like, hey, like you can do this, like
Yep.
pick up that pencil, paint, you can do it. I think like numbers and popularity and this and that are all like very fleeting, but the way that we can connect with people, and um, that's what art's about. It's about expressing yourself and having someone see that expression, be like, oh, I feel that too, and we connect as people, right? That's through
Mm.
music and movies and storytelling and poetry and writing. It's like it's me telling my experience and you being like, I see your experience, I think that's beautiful, let me share my experience with you, because we're all just running around like having our own experiences of life and being like, does
Yeah.
anyone else feel this way? Can we all
So
connect
true.
on some way?
It's so
Like,
true, and that's why.
does anyone else?
So, Mike, I had a question there. I was like, why is art even important, or why is creativity important, or why is like being a creative? And I mean, I think you just answered that perfectly. Like we're all in this ball, soil and water and air, and just going, what the hell's happening in
What?
here? and, and like
Right?
it's only art and creative stuff that can like really kind of tell us, well, this is how I feel, and this is, sure, there's lots of you know science and stuff that's happening on the planet, but how do we feel about being here, and I think that's important. So I'm glad people like you are out there doing that.
Thanks. It's it's I think it's really important for like, yeah, communicating emotions and experience, and from all different types of people, because everyone sees everything differently too. That's why like it's
Yes.
so important to showcase other people's work and get out of your own bubble of your world. Like being like creating in a bubble can be just as unhelpful as being overly saturated, and like I don't know. I have opinions about like Instagram and being able to like feeling
Sure.
oversaturated with imagery and like maybe too much, but I feel like seeing art from all walks of life and all different types of people, you just get a feel for who they are and how they're experiencing the world. So
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I think all of that's true. That's all great. So I think that's good. So we covered the feeling parts of it. Now I want to go back to the fiduciary parts of this. So
Sure.
we've only tallied up $80. So
I've been
on
living off that $80 for
yeah.
decades.
Yeah. Okay. So when you were on the podcast,
Yeah.
in 2022, I believe is when it was. There was a moment on that podcast where you were talking a lot, and I've had a million conversations. I'm going to keep having these conversations until I'm dead. Why do artists suck at pricing their work?
Yep.
Because we say that it's very, very important that people have these feelings. We make people happy. We make them connect. We see viewpoints. It's very, very important, all this stuff. Why is it less valued than a tomato in the grocery store or a pair of pants in a big chain store? Why do artists suck, Rachel, at pricing shit?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I feel like multitude of things, but I'm just gonna fire off some real quick.
Amazing.
I feel like the art uh, economy, it's like it's hard because when we think of art, people think of art, they think of it's like either like super valuable or it's
Mm-hmm.
not. It's like the Mona Lisa worth millions and millions of dollars, or like and that's like your point of reference is these paintings that are worth like so much money, and you're like,
Right,
okay,
right.
well, I can't, obviously. But
But
like,
why
how?
not? Why not? What do you mean why? What do you
But
mean?
why?
What do you mean? Obviously,
I
what?
guess
Why is a
not.
Mona
I
Lisa
don't
painting
know.
any worth more than one of your
That is such a good
portals?
question. That's
You
such a
know
good
why?
question.
Who said that one's better than your portal, or your landscape, or your portrait?
Oh, that is so true.
Who said that, Rachel?
Who
Who
said?
said that? Tell me. I'll go tell him.
It was me. It was me.
I know it was you, and that's why we're here. It's not for anybody else.
The
Nobody's
call
listening
is
to this
coming
podcast.
from inside the house.
This is an intervention. It's not even a podcast. There's nobody else listening to this. It's just you and me, Rachel.
Oh my gosh. Man. Okay, so I think being an artist and selling your work, I think it's really hard because like people who are in this economy, expendable expendable income is becoming less and less rare. I'm not going to get into like
Yeah,
economics and stuff, but for the most part, it's, I feel like,
we
becoming
can
a
mostly
less,
agree with that. I think most
yeah,
people can agree with that
most people can
statement.
agree
Yes,
with that
check.
statement.
Yes, okay, yes,
That's
check.
all we'll cap it at
Okay, good. Thank
so,
you.
I feel like it's like I need to live and make a living off selling my work, but I also want to value it in where I feel like it should be valued. And if I can, if I can sell more work at an affordable price, as opposed to a painting sitting there for $1,000, if I can sell it for a few hundred, I made some money. And that $1,000 painting may sit there forever and ever and ever, and I may never sell it, but it may be
Right.
worth that much. There was also the idea of art not being for the elite as well. That part of me like exists. When I was in school, we did a senior gallery show where we called it consume art, and so it was like about consumerism and art. And so we painted on like light switch panels and toilet seat covers and
Cool.
phone covers. And so they were works of art that you could purchase for an affordable price that you could live with, and they could fit into your tiny little apartment because it's just a light switch cover. You don't have to have space on your wall. And so I feel like art should be for everybody. And so it's hard for me to price my work higher because I know there's people, someone would freaking love to have that painting, but they don't have $500. Sometimes I don't have $500 to buy a painting all the time. So like, how do I, there's this constant back and forth of like, I want someone who's going to love that piece of art to be able to have it. So when I do art drops, I try to have like a wide range of prices where I think, where yes, the lower priced, the smaller pieces sell out first because it's more affordable, but I want to at least have to have that. I want to have that available. And so that pulls at me where it's like, maybe it will be worth $2,000, but what if, what if somebody,
What if?
I don't know. It's so hard.
It's a tricky question.
It's a
tricky question, and I don't know that there is one answer. But I come at from it like, I love any creative work. I love it all. It's obviously I've been working in this field for 20 years, but I have a real hard time sometimes when artists don't value their own work and they don't see it, because I'm like, you know what? If you don't make money, you're not going to do it. You're not going to pay your bills. You're going to go a little bit hungry, and then you're going to have to get a job, and then you're not going to make really pretty art. So you can't sell all your shit for $5.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that you want the world to have the art. That's great. But also there's a million ways to do it. So, one of the ways, Twitch, right? There's so many different ways. People don't have to just buy the art, right?
Absolutely.
People can experience so many different things and support you in so many different ways. And I love the old idea of the patron of the arts, and now we have Patreon and a million other things. And I like that is an example. I like that there's more examples than just painting the Mona Lisa.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who's painting the Mona Lisa again? Or whatever. Like, we don't know the answer to that, right? And I still don't even understand why a Mona Lisa is more than the two paintings that are sitting over your right shoulder right now. I'm like, those paintings are great. Why aren't they $10 million?
They are actually today only. We're having a sale. They were 20
If you're
million.
watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, you can sponsor an up and coming artist for just $10 million. Please drop a comment down below,
Small
and
price.
I'll get in touch with Rachel for you. I'm only gonna take a quick 80%. Don't
yeah,
worry.
no, it's cool.
It's fine. You're fine with 2, right?
yeah. Okay, I'll take
2 milli. That's fine. Okay,
yeah.
great.
Oh,
Oh man. But so many of that's all of that. It's tricky to think about, but I really do hope that as artists and as creatives, people think about it and think about what you actually need to live too. I think our world is all kinds of fucked up in terms of how much money you need to actually live and be happy. And it's I don't know, what if you could make $2,000, pay all your rent and all your bills, and live happily and paint every day, and that's it,
yeah.
Does that make you happy? I don't know the answer to that,
Yeah.
But
For
I
me,
think people need to reevaluate some of that stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that, and I live pretty I'm pretty frugal in the way I live, and just if I could pay my bills and I have a wedding to save for too, but
Yeah.
other than that,
Yeah.
day to day, if I can just cause break even or make some money to where I can
Well,
kind
and
of plan
savings,
for ahead.
I think
Yeah,
there's savings in there too, but I think it's just this
absolutely.
idea that we need I don't know. I've had this notion running around in my head, and I there's an episode coming out later. I haven't even made it yet. This is the first time we're talking about it, but this notion of when you go on YouTube and you search up why are there 9,000 videos about how to be a millionaire or how a millionaire lives their daily life? I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Why aren't there more videos of that's why I asked you if you're happy. Why don't we say what are you happy, and how do you be a happy person? Why don't we make that an endeavor to
I like
research how
that.
the hell do you be happy? Just
Right?
period. And if you're happy making art and paying whatever, and having a small savings account so you don't ever feel the stress of money, great.
Absolutely.
I think that's
Yeah.
awesome, and I hope more artists think about that, and I really appreciate and admire anybody who's doing art in a different way, and than just the one way that we're told. I appreciate anybody that's doing anything in a different way,
Yeah,
whether it's art
absolutely.
or
Yeah.
theater or music or whatever. Anybody that's doing that. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, well, when I was a senior at art school, they were teaching about galleries, get your portfolio for the
Right.
gallery, and they did. I moved away from the city where all the galleries were that would talk to the students and things like that, and I moved down here, and I thought of Twitch. I was like, well, and selling paintings online. I actually sold some off of Reddit. Surprisingly, that's
Yeah.
where I first
Amazing.
started selling my work. Was people would message me on Reddit, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I mean,
You
sure,
got some of your office paintings on there?
yeah,
Yeah. Office paintings. Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I sold a
Excellent.
self portrait to someone in Iceland or something. So my face is
Amazing.
somewhere in the world, but I I don't think that the gallery is the way for everybody, and I feel I don't know what they're teaching now because that was eons ago when I graduated, but
Sure.
I think that having that being oh, have you been in a gallery? No. Well, I guess you're not. It's just kind of
You're not a real artist.
You're not a real artist, right? And I feel
you're not. Oh, you're not a gallery artist. Ooh.
Yeah, and I feel that's it's so hard because that barrier to entry it would just be so high, And if you're making art and you're expressing yourself, you're an artist. Doesn't matter if you've sold it. Doesn't matter if you share it. If it's just for you, you're an artist. And I haven't
just owning that. I love that actually. Owning that, using that word. Our brain, our words in our own brain are so powerful, as we know, as we discussed earlier. And it's imagine if you just told yourself that, you're not you just woke up one day and you're like, I'm an artist. Well, now you live like an artist.
Absolutely.
You are an artist.
You are.
Do I need a piece of paper that says I'm an artist? Do I need to do, do I have to have a gallery painting? Do I no? We just made all that shit up. We made it all up. So
Absolutely.
Why not keep making it all up?
All words are made up, right?
Yeah, all words, all thoughts, all these ideas, they're all made up. We just made them all up. So why not make everything I do now for a living, all made up. I didn't go to school for any of the things I do. I don't know. It's been 20 years. Somehow I just kept scrounging through, and like
That's
you said
incredible.
earlier, I thought it was really cool to just if you throw all your chips in, it's amazing. Sometimes you get so scared. And there was so many times when I was living in a basement apartment and I was eating rice and whatever one condiment I could afford at the time. And I was like, well, this is it. But in my mind, I was like, well, this is it. I'm just going to be homeless now because this is the only thing I want to do. I wasn't like you. I was like, I'm not going to get a job. I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to go live on the street because that's what I'll do because this is the only thing I want to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I don't condone that. I don't think everybody should do that. I don't think we need a, but it was amazing to me that every single time, $500 would come through, and I'd be like, whew, I can afford some rent. You know, $1,000 would come in the mail, and I'd be like, whoa, where did that come from? Whoa, amazing. You know, and it was this like continual, just like stupid self-belief. You know, I was like, why did I believe in myself? I don't know, but. You know, I had a handful of people that said you could do it. A handful of people that thought it was really cool. I thought it was pretty cool what I was doing, you know, and I was like, I don't know, we're just gonna keep rocking that and see how it goes, you know. And
that
20
perseverance
years later, and we're
is amazing.
still doing it.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I feel like that's interesting, and it's I hope that more stories get told, and that's why I'm so appreciative that you took the time today. And I have a couple last questions for you. So one. I want to talk. We talked a little bit about your community, which I thought was friggin' awesome. So a couple of streams ago, I was watching, and your camera shit out, your light turned off, and then at the end of that stream, or in the middle, like somewhere in the middle of that stream, you know, you were talking about cameras, you know, crapping out and not doing well, and you know, I think it was a pretty awesome opportunity where you know. People supported the streamer and you've built this amazing community that people were like, oh, do you have a problem in the world? And you've put it out there. Ta-da!
No.
Like behold, a new camera, I believe was bestowed upon you by said community, right?
Yeah, it literally is on my couch. I brought it in this morning. My camera broke yesterday.
Yeah.
And they had been...
Well, or a couple days ago.
Yeah, a couple days ago. Oh, sorry.
Because this is being recorded. This is being recorded right now in this very moment. So that was weeks ago.
Yeah. I meant
charade is up.
Time.
It's fine.
Time.
Charade's up. It's fine.
My camera had broken, and community members. It was spearheaded by Kids Creations and C. Creates, and they're two of my mods and friends and community members, and they had thought because my it was going to be a birthday gift. However, when my camera, it was like divine intervention, and I was like, which one of you hacked my mainframe and broke my camera so you could get this for me? Because it was already in the works. The plan, they were planning on doing it, and it was a perfect opportunity once my camera had broken. And because I was stressed because I also had just purchased a painting class that I want to take, and like the same, and that was a like big gulp, like okay, we paid like, and then my camera broke right after. I was like, God, and so they were incredible. Even the first painting class I had taken, a community member had paid for that as well. Odia had paid for the painting class. I was like, I want to take this class, and the imposter syndrome runs deep through my veins, and it just feels like I don't deserve, you know. It's just like how incredible and how grateful I am. I just want to give back. I'm just every time something happens, I'm like, what can I do for you? Like there's this immense feeling of like not deserving it, but I'm trying to accept that. I'm trying to like be as grateful as I can and give back as much as possible, because
I hope that goes away someday. I hope that goes away.
Me too, man.
The imposter syndrome. The support I hope stays forever.
Oh,
the imposter syndrome I hope goes away. Yeah. Because and we're all living it. And I do think it serves a little bit of to be aware of like, oh shit, I could do more, I could do this, or I could try. Like I think it is helpful a little bit, but when it becomes crippling, I think it's not helpful. You know, and I think too many artists and just too many people on the planet. I think everybody on the planet has imposter syndrome at some point. But I don't think it's actually very well suited for most. I mean, you know, and I think back, and I think you know, if you look through both of our stories and you look through all these moments of like, you know, just sheer like bravado of like, oh, I could do that. Like, why did we in that moment believe that we could do any of that? and then in the very next moment be like, oh, I don't deserve that. Well, what the hell? Those are two very, that's pre and post mustache, Rachel. like just put your mustache on and just be excited for life and just be excited to accept all the things in your life, you know?
Man.
Like how do we go from being like, I can do anything to like, I guess I don't know, is this painting worth anything? I suck. Like, those two totally different people. How do those people live in the same brain?
I don't know, but the whiplash is exhausting. I wish I had insurance.
So it's
for
really
that.
hard. It's really hard. But I do think community. I think community is really important, right? And I'm always saying, and we've said it probably even 7 times on this podcast already, or this episode, of like, find your people.
Yeah.
Because when you are in those dark moments, you know, those people will show up. When you buy a class and then a piece of technology craps out, and you know, and those people can come and say, here you go. Don't worry about it. We got you.
Right.
Because you know what? You also would do the same thing if it was the other way. And so why not just accept it and just say thank you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, cry, snort, and say thank you. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do.
Oh man. Absolutely.
All right, so I have 2 last questions for you.
Sure.
So Twitch is a lovely place. There's lots of awesome stuff on there. But I wanted to ask you, who do you dislike the most on Twitch, and why is it Anthony Wheeler Art? That I just had a question for that.
You know, we have this feud. You know, it's like very heavy beef. It's, you know, you can't even utter his name in my stream. Like, if you even start to type the word Anthony, the auto mod will just chop you.
Right.
And you are never allowed back. I mean, we're very loving community, but that's like the one rule.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I can understand it, but what started, like, why did you say, no, it's fine. But I mean, even that is so fun to me. Is like, yeah, we're obviously joking, but like, you know, and I've seen you collaborate with so many folks, and like, you know, and that's a cool part of this whole experience too. And not being alone as an artist, and not being alone as a creative. You know, we've talked about the community, but even further still, like, you know, I think about so many different times you guys have done stuff together, and you've done stuff with lots of other artists and lots of other collabs. But that was the first one that came to my mind, of like how you guys interact and how that pushes probably both of you forward, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, very much so. It wasn't my first collab, but the first time we ever collabed was on A Studio Digital together. And we had this like the plan to do for them, and I was nervous. I'm always nervous when I do collabs. I'm nervous about 99% of the time. Like, especially like socially, I have a social anxiety a lot. And so it's one of those things where, like I said before, my stomach gets all weird and I start sweating, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to do this thing because my body is telling me not to. So I'm going to have to do this thing. And it has been so much fun. The way our personalities clicked, our humor is very much the same. His art has inspired me to get back into like the illustrative side of my work. And he's been a supporter of the stream, of my artwork, and he's a team player, and he is so creative, and his community is incredible, and that his community kind of blends with my community as well. That's why I call it like our community, because like everyone kind of mixes and together. But he's been super helpful and inspiring, and we have some future plans too, so I'm really excited for that.
That's awesome.
He's also a dirtbag. Just kidding.
It's also a dirtbag. Yes, we will have that on the record. I will put that in the description down below in bold, just for this episode. And I will only put half the link to his channel.
Yeah.
There, it's only going to say Anthony Wee, and then that's it. So, but I do think it's important to find those kind of people. So I do appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
That you can play with. I think it's important to find your community. I also think it's important to find people that you can work with, play with, you know, that you can push forward. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Of course. That was a great question too. I was like, where are you going? My least favorite channel on Twitch?
Yeah, could you just tell me your least favorite channel, please? Just get it out here, you know?
I was just like,
Okay, so my final question, just to wrap all this up. This has been
Yeah.
a really lovely conversation. I appreciate where our journey has even gone in this
Of
last
course.
hour and a half. But if you were to say and to put out into the universe one thing that you need in your life as a creative right now, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good question.
What do you ask for? If you could have anything as a creative, what do you put in the universe?
If I could have anything as a creative, what would I put out in the universe? I would ask for um hmm. I would ask for um a little more perseverance in and authenticity in my work. I would say to be I would hope for to let those roadblocks down that I'm so negative with myself and be able to create work that is that I'm proud of and to learn new things without the fear of failing. That's what that my hope for this year is to um, improve my skills, and not getting in my own way of that would be pretty cool. And
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. So I have a follow-up question then to that.
Sure.
So that's not a painting thing. That's not a painting skill. How do you work on that skill? Because that's not a paint. You're not going to paint your way out of that.
Nope. I think acceptance and um, I think acceptance and community. I feel like just no and like creating work for the sake of creating work in the process and not about the product. And working on that is accepting that not every piece is going to be perfect, but focusing on what I want to learn and seeing it evolve and grow and not be so don't harshly critique and don't compare. I think another goal would be to stop comparing my work to other people's work, because it's um, everyone's journey is different. Everyone's self expression is different, and so I sometimes get caught up in comparing my work and seeing where the faults are and where it doesn't measure up. And so just keep making the work, whether it's what I expected to or not, and letting those expectations go and just keep going and make the work. Because sometimes I get caught up in getting scared that I'm going to fail when I make a painting. Like, I'm not very good at this, but to just do it anyway.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. I really like that, and I respect that. Can I give you a challenge? And then I'm going to extend it to the rest of the folks that are here. And I'm just, this is, what if you painted something and then you could only write down in a few sentences on one page how you felt about that painting, and it could only be positive?
I like that.
And what if you kept a little journal that every time you did a painting, you just wrote down a few thoughts, and they could only be in positive speak. It could not be in negative speak. It can't be in comparative speak. It can only be in positive self speak about the thing you just did. And then you close that book and you put it away. And then when you make another one, you open that book and you just keep doing that. That's a practice that I think we need to do more of.
I like that challenge.
We need to get it out of our head.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and we have to force ourselves. I think you have to. I think you can say all those things and then do nothing with it.
Yeah.
I think you have to actively do the thing. So I challenge you at the end of this to take that step, or to take a step towards being able to put something on paper that says, I wrote this positive thing about this nice painting I just did. God damn it. Period.
Awesome. All caps. Awesome.
That's fine. Yeah, that would be fine. That's a great first one. And then I'd like you to work up to like a second sentence and then a third sentence. And then by the end of the year, can you imagine that book Can you imagine that
Wow.
book by the end of the year, if you could go back and look at it again? And it would go like that. It would go like, oh, this painting was not bad. It was okay. I felt okay about it. Like, I know that's how it would start, but
Mm-hmm.
imagine the way you would change your brain if you allowed yourself to, if you forced yourself to only speak in positive speak.
And the power of positive thinking it, it is it exists, and getting
Our, yeah.
what
No, our brain is so dumb.
I
Our brain is so
know.
dumb.
Brain dumb.
We just have to we just have to like we just have to will it,
I
beat it. You know, it's
know.
like just fuck. Like every time you put a painting up, just shut up. Just put it up.
Yep.
Like just post it, or don't even post it. You know, just be done with it.
Right.
Don't, you know? And it's like don't apologize. Don't and if you just said positive things about it, if you made yourself just say positive things about it, what would be the harm in that?
Right.
Like what good does it do to even say a negative thing? You know?
Exactly.
And I think earlier on you said that you felt that was a way that you pushed you forward. And I think that's poppycock, madam.
It is.
I think it's poppycock. I think we tell ourselves that all the time.
Right? Like, oh, the diamonds are made from high force, right? It's just can we just get rid of that one? Like, that's...
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't need diamonds.
We don't need diamonds.
Maybe we don't need diamonds.
Really don't need diamonds, yeah.
We just need some nice, colorful rocks, you know?
Right? I like colorful rocks.
But it's... Yeah, I'll take a colorful rock, right? But I do think that, especially in the creative world, where it's like we can be so harsh with ourselves, but you can be so kind to everybody else. I watch the stuff you put on the fridge, and you say so many nice things about so many pieces, and we all have these nice emotions about everybody else's work, and then you look at your own work, and you're like, well, this could have been and better, and that was there, and I was like, shut up, just you did the work. Now move on. Make another piece. Also, everything you just said about Joanne's nice piece, say that about your own piece.
True. Well, and that over time, that muscle will be like worked out, right? That positive thinking muscle. Yeah. And then when you go into a new piece, you're not going in with all the negatives that bounced around from the last one. You're kind of going in with more positive and be like, what could this be? And because the way you're feeling can be represented in what you're putting up creatively, whatever kind of art you make, whatever you do. And so getting ourselves in a better space, like emotionally and mentally, to go into it will only benefit us.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Hear ye.
Let it be known.
Huzzah!
Here on this date, I concur. No, but it's true though, and I do appreciate that. And I just hope that any creative that's listening to this does go visit your channel, because if you are having a shitty day, even if you're having a good day and you want to have a better day, go in, watch a Babe Ross stream. I guarantee you're going to have a good laugh. Mm-hmm. I guarantee you're going to enjoy seeing art. The art's on Reel. Go to the Instagram page, check it all out. Listen to this podcast twice, because there's so much good shit in it. I do appreciate it. I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing for creatives, for artists, and I can't say enough good things. So
thank you.
So thank you for hanging out with me.
Thank you for wanting to hang out with me too. Thank you for having me. I honestly, I'm so honored you asked, and this has been so much fun. I appreciate it.
Well, we did it. We made a podcast.
Woo!
Thank you. Wow. Okay, you got it. If you're here, you stuck it out. You did it. Hooray. I'm very proud of you that you gave yourself the time to listen to this entire episode. Maybe it took you 2 times to listen to. Like maybe it just split up into 2, but I don't care. Doesn't matter. You're here. You did it. What a friggin' episode, right? Are you kidding me? Rachel Schneider, Babe Ross, so good. If you listen through all the way, I am very proud of you, and I hope that every piece of knowledge that Rachel dropped, you take with you. I really hope, I want to read this again because I think it's so important. What if I could apply the energy to my own dream versus somebody else's dream, right? What if you just believed in yourself? What if you just put the energy that you're putting out into the other world, into the world, and into other people's things, into yourself? That is so pivotal. It's so monumental. I hope that exists for you. And I hope you took away the lessons when we were talking about process over product at the end. Rachel talked a little bit about putting her own work on a pedestal and how she's really trying to work through not doing that. I've always been impressed because I've watched and I've seen in different clips of hers that she will paint over old paintings, and I think that's so good. I think the process of making, creating, and then destroying and also recreating is good for us. I don't think we need to spend too much time putting stuff on one pedestal, because that pedestal can be knocked out so fast, so easy. And you are a multifaceted, super talented creative. You know how I know that? Because you're here. If you weren't, you wouldn't be here. I know that if you're listening, that you have the creative ability to go do some really cool shit. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. You know why I believe it? Because I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe that. So I gotta believe it. I believe, and I'm so excited. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys are doing super well. I hope you guys have an amazing friggin' week. Happy friggin' Monday. If it's not Monday, it's just because you're listening on the second Monday or the third Monday of the week. You know how we do here. We love Monday. All right, that's enough for me. Until September 2nd, have yourself a great friggin' time. Go do more cool shit.